We are on location in the beautiful city of New Orleans in Jackson Square. Thanks for watching our introductory episode of the Dresden Files RPG. Sometimes things aren't so easy in the big easy.
Well, I've been living in sin for about a month. Something turned me around, it's something that I just can't understand the way I behave. Some people you can never save. In my right hand, got a girl on my ear, and on my left hand, throwing back a beer. What can I say, amigo?
So the Dresden Files RPG has a very simple system that's based on the fate system. And the mechanic is pretty simple. You're given 4 fate dice. And those fate dice have 2 pluses on them, 2 minuses on them, and then 2 blank sides. And you always roll 4 fate dice and add it to whatever skill or stat of something you're trying to accomplish. Now, stats range from either 0 to about +5 in our game, though they can go higher. And you just basically roll the 4 dice. A plus means a +1, a minus means a -1, and a blank means, of course, nothing. You add your total to your stat, and then you have a target number that the GM knows, and he will tell you whether you succeeded or didn't.
Make me a, let's see, make me a lore check. I think that's a really good one for you. All right.
Phasmophobia has prepared you for this.
Ooh, that is a +7.
Wow. If you tie on your roll, then you succeed, but there's a minor consequence. Maybe something along the lines of, if you're fighting, you're slightly off balance. If you succeed by at least 1 or 2 points, you succeed, no minor consequence. And if you succeed by 3 or higher, you succeed with style. Every 3 points above the target number you need gives you a bonus. It could be something as simple as you get to tag an aspect on the person, or it could be that you do extra damage, or maybe you get to do something like pull them off balance with your attack. Your choice. Now, you heard me use the word aspect. What is an aspect? Well, every person and every location has aspects of their character. Della is a white wizard, a wizard of the White Council, and she's also a warden. And so she can tag those aspects of her character by spending a fate point and get a +2 on any roll, or re-roll her 4 fate dice if she chooses instead. Well, how do you find aspects on people? Well, they like to hide their aspects because that gives you an advantage over them. But it's a little easier to find aspects of, say, a location. One of the aspects of a location might be bright and sunny and hot, like it is today. If you tag that aspect, it could give you an advantage maybe on what you're trying to do. If you're doing ice magic, it's not going to help you, so you can't tag it. But if you're doing fire magic, well, bright, hot, and sunny might definitely be what you want to use. There are 4 actions in the fate system. You can create an advantage, which is a maneuver, and again, you just roll your dice and see if you beat the opposing person. You can attack, you can defend, and you can seek to overcome something. Maybe there's a door that's locked, so you want to overcome by rolling higher than the target number that the game master has set for the door. So that's how the fate system works. Pretty simple. Roll 4 dice, add your skill to it, and see if you beat a target number. If you didn't, sometimes you can tag an aspect by spending a fate point, and that'll give you the bonus that you need to be successful.
Well, I've been living in sin.
Hi, let's talk about Della. Della was born in New Orleans and raised in the 9th Ward. She grew up in the city and has 1 sister. However, they chose very, very different paths. Della decided to join the White Council and eventually become the warden of the city of New Orleans. Her specialties of magic are ice, wind, and spirit, and she uses her magic to investigate a lot of the things that are going around the city. Her sister, on the other hand, chose a path that took her to eventually become the kingpin who is in charge of organized crime in the city. She has a childhood friend named Terrence who was recently killed, and she's doing everything in her power to find out who killed him and to bring the perpetrator to justice. She also has one of the last swords made by Anastasia Lucio before she lost her ability to make the swords. It's hidden in her umbrella.
About a month, something turned me around, it's something that I just...
So, Volt Kruger. You're probably wondering who this guy, the dragon is. And he is the first son of Ferrovax, the first dragon born in a long time. Now, we all know that dragons can shape change, and so Volt is basically the son of a mortal woman and a dragon. And he is named after the character from the game The Bouncer, Volt Kruger. Now, he was trained by Ferrovax and then essentially kicked out to go make his way in the world because he's a very unique individual, but also a vulnerability for Ferrovax. And so Ferrovax really hasn't shown that he has any ties for it. First thing he did coming to New Orleans was he kicked a bunch of low-level thugs out of a warehouse and took it over from them. And so that's where he's currently attempting to amass his hoard.
If you really were as great as the old tales say. I did not believe them.
Do you now?
Truly.
He knows Bunk because Bunk fixed one of the games the Saints were playing, and then Volt was supposed to clean up loose ends and kill Bunk. But he realized having a magically active friend was probably a better asset than killing Bunk was. He also has been hired to kill Terrence, and he did. But Della doesn't know that yet.
Can't understand the way I behave. Some people you can't.
So how about the character Miranda Gagnon? Miranda is a bit of a tragic character who has risen from pretty humble beginnings and through difficult times. She's a recovering alcoholic, and she has lost lots of friends along the way to different addictions and problems. Her good friend Reggie's a good example. She carries Reggie's rosary with her as a memory to the friends that she's lost. She's also a bit of a street preacher and definitely watches out for the homeless population in New Orleans. She works in a soup kitchen and basically tries to take care of those people who may be going through or have gone through the same problems she went through. She's also a Knight of the Cross, and she bears one of the Swords of the Cross. Hers is the one that's normally borne by Sonia. Let's see if I can say this right. Esperacius. She's dealt with things like demon possession. She's protected White Court vampires from their inheritance so that they can live normal lives. And she's protected paranetters and other practitioners from the predations of some of the vampires and bigger predators in the city. You can see I'm standing outside the St. Louis Cathedral, which is kind of her base of operations because she works very closely with the Catholic Church. Darwin Smith is a bit of an enigma when it comes to magic practitioners. He's an artificer, mainly makes magic items, and so his primary focus is thaumaturgy. Some of his items work, but he's more focused on making lots of them, and maybe they don't work quite as well as he had intended. He always carries a few potions, and he carries a very large caliber magic handgun that was given to him by his mentor. Darwin lives in the Garden District, in a small shotgun house, and if you kind of look around me, we are in the Garden District in a shotgun house that my friend Brad owns. So there you go, that's Darwin Smith. So, Bunk, no last name. Bunk lives at the NOLA Art House, which is the building behind me. You can see it's seen better days, unfortunately. He's a musician, trombone player to be precise, but he's also a practitioner of evocation magic. He specializes in kinetic energy and wind. Learning these abilities have cost him some gigs because sometimes his magic in the heat of the moment would get away from him. He's ruined a few venues on Frenchman Street, but for the most part is welcomed back by those people who own those businesses now. He met Volt because he helped fix a Saints football game, and Volt was supposed to clean him up as a loose end. That's code for killing. But Volt realized that maybe having a friend who could do magic was maybe more valuable than killing him. And since then, they've done a lot of things together and definitely have each other's backs. So that's Bunk.